Quran, Quran, Quran.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Anbiya'i wal Mursaleen. Amma ba'd, fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajim. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulallah. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Habiballah. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Nabiyyallah. Wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Nurallah. My dear respected viewers of Madani Channel, we once again welcome you in our program, Background of Quranic Revelations. In this program, we select one ayah of Quran and we talk about its background. Why was it revealed? When was it revealed? And what is historical background behind this very verse? The reason of its revelation, sabab of nuzul. Be with us from start till end, inshallah. It's this very short span of time, very short and brief program. You'll be learning a lot. What message is there for us from our Lord Azza wa Jal, and what is the historical background of the verse, inshallah, will be our topic. Respected viewers, before we proceed towards our topic of the day, let's make few good intentions. My Shaykh Tariqat, Amir of Ahl Sunnah, Hazrat Allama Maulana Muhammad Ilyas Attar Qadri, Damat Barakatuhum Al-Aliyah, has given us a beautiful mindset that we should make good intentions before we perform any permissible task or any good deed. As I am presenting this program, I make this intention, I will present this for the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If you're watching this program, you can make this intention, you will watch from start till end, you'll remember what you learned, act upon, and pass this knowledge on to others too. I would urge and encourage you to ask your family members, children, kids, to come and sit in front of Madani Channel's TV screen and watch this short and brief program from start to end. Inshallah, end of the day, you'll be learning a lot. Respected viewers, today we have selected Suratul Baqarah, verse number 186. Let's listen its recitation first.
وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ فَلْيَسْتَجِيبُوا لِي وَلْيُؤْمِنُوا بِي لَعَلَّهُمْ يَرْشُدُونَ. Translation. And, O beloved Prophet, when my people question you concerning me, so I am indeed near. I accept the supplication of the one who calls upon me when he supplicates. So they should obey my command and believe in me that they may attain guidance. Subhanallah. What a beautiful verse of the Holy Quran, subhanallah. And what a beautiful message it contains. What a great hope it gives to a believer that his Lord Azza wa Jal is qareeb, is near to him, and he accepts when he makes dua in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Respected viewers, with regards to وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي, with regards to this part of this verse in Tafsir Siratul Jinan, it is mentioned that in this very verse, those are being discussed who have sacrificed their wishes for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Only desire they have is their Lord Azza wa Jal. They love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's what they desire, the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala alone. And for them, this glad tidings is being given that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is near to them. The background of its revelation is that there were some Sahaba Kiram alayhim Ridwan, that they were lost in the love of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In that passion they asked, where is our Lord Azza wa Jal? When they asked this question, upon this it was mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from makan, free from place. And here it is also mentioned that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listens the supplication of the believers when they supplicate Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They mention their plea in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They ask dua in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
du'as of believers is heard, is accepted in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The meaning of dua is to present your plea in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the meaning of ijabat is the acceptance, is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says labbaika abdi upon the dua of his bondsman. Subhanallah. Whereas whatever he asks, whether he gets or not, that is different case. Because sometimes when you ask in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you get what you ask for straight away. Whereas at other times it is delayed and you do not get what you desired for. And there are many reasons behind that. We cannot comprehend the reasons behind what we are asking for and we are not getting. The ulama, they've mentioned, subhanallah, many beautiful reasonings in this regard. Sometimes a person, what he is asking for, he is given in this dunya. And sometimes he gets its reward in the hereafter. And sometimes what a person is asking, he doesn't have benefit in that particular thing, what he is asking, or that dua, what he is asking for. Whereas he is granted that where the benefit lies. There's one reason also why dua is delayed, that a person is closer in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And he is not granted quickly. The dua is delayed so that that person remains indulged in asking from the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And sometimes when a person makes dua in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that dua does not have ikhlas, that dua does not have sincerity, and that becomes a hurdle and hindrance in the acceptance of this very dua and supplication. For this reason, we request others who are pious and closer in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we request them to make dua so that because of their sake, our duas are also accepted, because they've got ikhlas, they've got sincerity in their supplications, in their duas. Respected viewers, one reason what ulama they've mentioned in the books, that sometimes we do not know what is good for us. We keep on asking, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has got more knowledge. There's no comparison of our knowledge and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge. His knowledge is immense. His knowledge is great. He knows what is best for us. He knows what will be best for us in the future. But we cannot foresee. We cannot judge that. And at that very moment in time, we believe and we think what we are asking is best for us, is good for us. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is good for us, and we don't get it. So we should trust upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If we have the trust, we should believe that I'm asking, and inshallah I'll get it what is good for me. Ulama, they give an example, a child who has got a less knowledge, and if he wants to hold that candle which is lit, and for him it's a light, for him it's a beautiful thing, he wants to catch it, he wants to hold it. But parents, because their knowledge is greater than that of child, they will never allow him to go near that fire, because that child, he is considering that just as a light, whereas the parents, they've got more knowledge than that child. They know this is just not just a light, it is a fire. It can burn, it can hurt that child. Likewise, if a child asks for a knife, no wise person would give in the hands of a child, because his knowledge is not that much as the person who is wise enough, who knows that this knife can harm this child. Without any tamtheel, respected viewers of Madani Channel, our knowledge is nothing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's knowledge is great and immense. So whatever is best for us, that is decided. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does what is best for us. And we should have trust upon Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He listens our du'as, He accepts our du'as. He is qareeb, He is very near to us. And when a person makes dua in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, subhanallah, his dua is, or her dua is heard and accepted. We should always make dua in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as much as possible, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is qareeb, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is near, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala listens our du'as, He accepts our pleas, and He listens and grants what we need. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us ability and tawfiq to make dua in the court of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And whatever we have learnt, may Allah give us ability to act upon. That's all for today. We'll be back with another beautiful episode, with another interesting topic. Until next time, keep watching Madani Channel. Keep reciting Salat upon Nabi alayhi salatu wassalam. Sallu ala al-Habib. Sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
Qur'an, Qur'an.